And welcome. Today I'm gonna show you how you can use a trailing stop loss program I made for the exchange Kucoin. Um, it's very easy, I think, and the feature isn't in the app or on the desktop right now. I don't know if it ever will get added, but as long as it isn't, you can use one code from my GitHub. And I'm just gonna explain to you what a trailing stop loss is if you don't know, and then I'm gonna show you what the program is and how to use it. And if you're gonna stay the whole time, then I'm gonna tell you exactly how the program works and what it does from a programming standpoint. But if you don't care about that, you can just watch the first two parts of the video. So let's get right into it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is to explain what a trailing stop loss is. So if you know, if you search for this video, you probably know already, but I'm gonna explain it anyway. Let's say you're doing some kind of intraday trading, so you're holding stocks, or in this case crypto, for not so long, a few hours at most, and you see a setup for a trade that may look like this. I just pulled up the Bitcoin chart here, and let's say you entered this trade around here, so you entered at this candle, but you want to go to sleep or work or anything that keeps you from looking at this chart for a few hours, or at least more time that you are comfortable not looking at this chart. So you have a few options now. Let's say you entered here and the price is now like here. You could just sell out and take this profit, which would in this case be not that much gain, so it's a personal choice, but that would be one option. You just take the profit, you would have no risk of losing anything because you're not in this trade anymore once you go to sleep or to work or whatever, but you're essentially missing out on future gains or possible future gains. It could be that the stock just skyrockets while you sleep and you miss out because when you wake up from sleeping or come home from work, you see that the stock is right here and you just took this profit. Wouldn't be that great. So that's the first option. You can do this, but it's the least optimal way to do it. The second way would be to set a stop loss around here. So if you don't know what a stop loss is, a normal stop loss, it just is an order type you put into your order, and it essentially just tells the broker to sell the stock once it reaches that price. So let's say you set your stop loss at this price while you go to sleep, and the stock does exactly this, what it did while you were sleeping. Wouldn't be possible because this is a 1.5 day time span, but anyways, it's just for the principle. It doesn't really matter how long you keep running it or whatever. Say this is happening while you sleep, and if you got your stop loss set around here or at exactly this point, it would have sold once the stock hits there. So you wouldn't have made this large loss because it would have sold already on this point. But if you, for example, woke up here, you could have taken this profit instead of this. So it's a better way than just selling instantly, because the most amount of money you would, or the least amount of money you would get is the same as you would sell at this point. But you have the possibility that if you come back to your stock, that it will be somewhere up here. So there's the possibility at least for future gains to be made. But it could also be that this happens and it just sells right here, and you would have made the same gain as if you just sold it anyways. So it's a better way to do this, but not the best. In my opinion, the best way to do this without AI or deep learning or any kind of that sorcery is to use a trailing stop loss. The main exchange I use for trading my cryptos is Kucoin, because many reasons. I don't want to get into that in this video, but mine is Kucoin. I think I'm gonna look into the Coinbase API as well and maybe do something around there, but I'll do it in another video. So anyways, this is about the exchange Kucoin, and Kucoin, at least to my knowledge, doesn't have a feature to do a trailing stop loss. But what is a trailing stop loss and what problems does it solve? Say we're in the situation, you got around the in the trade around here, it's at this point already, and you have don't have the possibility to do any trading or something for some time span, and it could be down here already, but you don't want to take this risk. So what do? I explained the first two options, just selling around this point or putting a stop loss around here. Both of these options are very possible. You can do these. If it's a personal choice what you want to do, but if you go from a logical standpoint, there's the first option, selling, is the worst, because the best profit you can make is this one, because you're selling instantly, which limits your losses because there couldn't be any, but there couldn't be any gains, so you're just not trading. Better option is to put a stop loss, because the loss is the same with the first version. You can't have any more loss than this if you put the stop order here, because it will sell automatically, but you could have future gains if you come back from work or whatever and the stock's around up here. So you could make future gains, but it couldn't be. It could also be just down here, and you wouldn't make any more gains than if you had sold. So, what is a trailing stop loss? A stop loss is what I explained here. So it just tells the broker to sell if the stock crosses this line or this price. And a trailing stop loss is essentially a smarter, automated version of that. So let's say we're around here, and you set your trailing stop loss. Here, in the program I wrote, you have to input an offset. Offset means the value you allow the stock to go down before selling. Example, you have the stock is around here at $1 per share. By the way, you can do this with crypto or anything. I'm writing this program for Kucoin, so it's only crypto. But it doesn't matter if it's a stock or crypto for the principle. You put your stop loss right here, but at an offset. So let's say you go to bed and think, okay, in this transaction you already made, let's say, a 25% gain. You got in here, it's already at this point, you made a 25% deal, so you would have already made money if you sold now. But you say you're okay with just doing a 15% gain. So you would be okay with the stock hitting this price point, and you're just getting this gain with the possibility of future gains way higher. So you essentially have to say the program, what offset do you use? You can just use a 50% offset, which means you allow the stock to go down 50% before selling. So right now this sounds like a very stupid idea, right? Why tell the stock to sell around here if you just can sell around here and make more profit? That's because this stop loss will move on its own, more or less. The program will move it. So let's say you're around here, you set your offset to be 25% or anything. The numbers don't really matter. You have to think of these as your own. Example, if you have in crypto you have more fluctuations, more volatility, you might use a higher percentage. It's totally possible for Bitcoin or something. Okay, maybe not Bitcoin because the market cap is very large, but if you have invested in smaller altcoins with smaller market caps, there might be a 40 to 50% fluctuation in one of these candles if you're having a higher time frame. So there's really the possibility that they fluctuate a bit, so you kind of have to guess or to say what you're okay with losing, and the more you're okay with losing, the more you'll gain. So what does the program do? Let's say we're around here. This is our current time frame. Let's put another line right there. Make it another color. So let's say red is bad. Let's say this yellow line is the price we're at right now. So we're in the middle of this candle, and our trailing stop loss is set with the offset to be, let's say, here. So the trailing stop loss is a stop loss that moves dependent on your highest price, so it doesn't move down, it only goes up. Let me explain. Let's say we're in this candle and we move to this candle. And let's say we're using the kind of average, we're at the average right now, so we always use the highest point because it only goes up. So let's say we're in this candle still, then the highest price it gets in this candle is where this candle ends. Our trailing stop loss will be automatically set up here, right? That makes sense, because it's still at the same offset. It's not a percent offset, it's offset depending on the price. So let's say you enter this at $1, say it's a 25% offset, then your offset for the whole transaction will be 25 cents. So if in any of these candles the price drops 25 cents, it will sell. What is the principle behind this? Let's just do this for each candle, okay? And let's see if we get where we want to get. So let's move to this candle. The highest price is around here. Then our trailing stop loss will be around somewhere here, with the offset still in place. These candles are lower, this candle is lower as well, this candle is way higher. So our current price, or our highest current price, will be set here. And our trailing stop loss will move somewhere around here. What happens in the next candle? The price goes down under this stop loss. It's a bearish candle and we see the lowest price is around here, so the price definitely hits this line. What happens? Once the price hits this line, it will sell. Like if you set another stop loss right here, like a normal stop loss. That means the price, if the price only goes up, our trailing stop loss also goes up, because it depends on the maximum price. It only gets set higher when the price is higher, but not lower if the price is lower. That means if the stock does something like we see in here, where it has this curve, what's pretty normal for stocks, like this, it has a peak and then it moves back down. If there's something like that, what we see here, it's a round figure. It goes up in the first few candles and then it goes down. That's what we detect, and here's where we sell, right? That means if you set this correctly, you can only make profits once you establish it. What I mean by this is, if you set it the moment you, let's say we go back to our trade. Let's say we bought at this price, right? Let's move to another candle. Let's say we moved in, or we bought at this price right here in this candle, and immediately set our trailing stop loss, like the same offset, or it doesn't really matter, this offset, right? In the next candle, the price immediately goes down. That's this huge bullish candle right here. What will happen is that it immediately gets sold at this price, which means we did make a loss, because the trailing stop loss is under the initial buy price, so we still made a loss. That means you have to be invested some kind of time before you initialize the trailing stop loss in order to only make profits with it. If we initialize it here, for example, then the trailing stop loss will move with it, go back to that peak, that's the peak right there, and then it will get sold. That means we have to wait, initializing our trailing stop loss, until our trailing stop loss, so the offset of this price, is at least the same than the original price. So let's say we set our trailing stop loss at an offset of 25%. That means we're okay with losing 25% in order to accept calculations like if it goes very much up and down. Like in crypto, you see there's huge peaks, there's drops around here. So if you immediately sold, if the price dropped any amount, then it would just sell instantly, because crypto is a very volatile place. You have many transactions each second. Of course, it's dependent on the pair. We're looking at Bitcoin, so the most valued crypto, but it's the same principle. So let's say we're invested around here, or we invested here. Then we would have, and our offset is this. We would need to wait, initializing our trailing stop loss, until the price is right here. So the trailing stop loss price will be over our initial buy price. We don't have to do it, but if we want to say that each time we use the trailing stop loss we can only make profits, that's the way to do it. Because otherwise, if it drops before it rises enough, we will still make a loss. That means you have to kind of plan ahead. You can't just buy anything, put a trailing stop loss on it, and only make gains. The only making gains part of the thing only works if we already made enough gain to use the trailing stop loss with enough offset. So that means if we use a 25% offset on the trailing stop loss, to only make profits, we had to make 25% gain between buying the asset and initializing the trailing stop loss, okay? If you have any questions about how that works, there are multiple videos that explain this a lot better than me. I'm trying to remember that I put these in the info box of this video. But if you have any questions, just ask them in the comments. I know I'm not the best explainer of things, so just talk to me, ask me, or ask anyone. As I said, there are way better videos on this topic. I just wanted to introduce you to the concept and lead to how the program works. So let's jump to the next part, and I will tell you how to use this program on your own. To use this program on your own, you have to just click on the link in this video description. It'll lead you to my GitHub, and this is the repository you're looking for, Kucoin trailing stop loss. As I said, maybe I'll do these for another exchange, but I don't know if the Coinbase API is good enough for me to work with it. I don't know, I haven't looked into it. Maybe I'll do it and then I'll add it to another repository. At this moment you can see there's not much in here. I'll do the README based on this video, so I'll do it afterwards. You don't have to watch this video if you can just read this, if you like to read something more than listening to me. But we see in here is just the README and trailing stop loss Kucoin .py. .py, for you who don't know, it's a Python program, which means you first have to get Python installed. To install Python, just hit Python download anywhere and go to python.org/downloads and download the latest version. So, but in this project, let's look in here. We have, this is not an editor, it's just a watcher. So you actually have to install some kind of text editor. You could go with something like Notepad, but it's not really a coding thing. So what I recommend is Visual Studio Code. It's very lightweight, it's a great way. Also, you could just use idle. Idle, it's the IDE or the text editor that comes with Python itself. You don't have to download anything. And since you just have to change these three things, just look what's best for you. So let's look into this from the top up. From the top down, excuse me. So this is the packages we need. You can see that here we have import Kucoin.client. I'm using another module for this. It's also available on GitHub. It's called Python Kucoin. It's an easier way of using the Python Kucoin API than doing all the requests yourself. To install this, you simply use your commanding window and type pip, which is the Python module installer, install, and then Python-Kucoin. That's the name of the module, that's what we need. Hit enter. I don't have to do this because I already installed it on this PC. That's why here requirement already satisfied. If you haven't installed this, it'll download the whole thing and then you'll be good to go. So how do you actually use this? You open the Python document with any editor of your choice and you'll be left with this. It's a very short program, it's a very simple program. If you're not interested in the programming part, you can just ignore all this and focus on these lines where it says your stuff goes here. That's where you use your API key, secret, and passphrase to connect to your individual Kucoin account. I won't show how the step works because then I probably would show my own API key, secret, or passphrase, which means that any one seeing this video could access my Kucoin account, and yeah, no. So I'll put another video about how to get these API things into the video description and probably into the info box once I find a good one. But all you have to do is put your API key here. So be careful that you have these things around the API key. It has to turn orange if you use Visual Studio Code. If you get an error or anything while using this program, just write to me. Just be careful to never share your whole file because you may share your API key, secret, and passphrase. Then anyone can access your Kucoin account. That wouldn't be great. So the key goes in here, the secret goes in here, the passphrase goes in here. What each of these three will be, this will be some kind of long hash, so a lot of gibberish. This is just the key to your API. So imagine like your address. The secret is a generated secret for this API account. It's another bunch of gibberish. You just have to create an API access with your Kucoin account and copy paste these into the program. This passphrase is the only thing you can choose yourself when using the API. This is kind of just your password. I don't know why they call it passphrase. It's just a password. Genau. And if you have added these three things, you're totally good to go. And I'll show you how to use it right now. So how to actually get this file. If you're here, just go here and press this download button code and then just download the zip, zip it, and you should end up with this file, trailing stop loss Kucoin. So if you've done all the changes, put in your personal API key, etc., then you're ready to go. You have to see this here, and then you can just double click it. It'll open a CMD terminal. It's I didn't make any graphical user interface, it's just a program that runs in the terminal window. So, you see starting insert currency. This is used to determine how much you actually got in your account, which is important for doing the actual sell. So, let's say I want to trade on this pair I mentioned earlier, BTC US dollar. The currency I want to put in there is BTC. So be careful to not write Bitcoin or anything in here. It's important that you use the tracker. So here in this case BTC. If you got your quota base, it only works for the left one. So if you buy the left one and sell to get the right one, this is what you want to put in. So Bitcoin. Then insert the pair. Then this is what we want to use for what to sell into, kinda. So you can trade Bitcoin against many things. You can trade Bitcoin against altcoins. There is a BTC ADA, I think, etc. But you can just put in any pair you want to sell into. Just be careful, if you put this into it, then it will sell you Bitcoin and give you ADA. If that's what you want, perfect. I'm gonna use Tether in this case because that's what the pair I used as an example is. Then we can input the insert offset. This will determine the offset of the trailing stop loss, so the difference between these two. For example, you could go with 25. Just be careful to not write 0.25 if you want percent. That's why I wrote this percent in here. 25 means 25%, so 0.25. Then insert the enterprise, because normally, as I said, the enter time and the time where we actually initialize this trailing stop loss will be different. So we actually can't lose money once we implemented this. So you have to enter here the price where you entered the trade actually. So let's say in this case it would be around 56,000 and a half. So around this. And then you can see it starts already. Currently holding 0 BTC because I don't have the BTC in my trading account, and I don't actually own any Bitcoin on Kucoin, I think. Yeah. There you can see what the first stop loss price is. So the first stop loss price is at 42,375. So if we use this chart, make it a little bit slimmer, 25%, we would be around here. So that's what I'm talking about. That's why we still can lose money once we implement this, because there's just a trailing stop loss around here and the price could easily go down. So we would have to wait around the price somewhere here so that the trailing stop loss will be around here. That's why we don't initialize it instantly. And now it's already doing its job. You can see this. So it entered the whole thing. Just be careful. Once you close this window, it's gone. So you have to keep this window up if you want to run the program. It doesn't run on the cloud or anything. It just runs on your local machine. That also means that if you run this on a laptop, because it's thought to run for a few hours or days, if you don't want to look at your stocks for, I don't know, a week or so, that means that if you close your laptop, depending on the energy settings, it will stop the program from working. So you have to, you can put this on a Raspberry, by the way. That's where I have it. So what does this do now? We see that the stop loss is set up because we're not actually at this point in time anymore. We're already here and the price is a bit higher than where I showed this. I showed this here because it's a beautiful setup to explain what it does. Not like here, I think it's not that great. So I chose something that's a few days ago or half a month. And yeah, that's the the program working. Anytime the price goes up from the last price, it shows you what the old stop loss was and what the new stop loss is. So the current stop loss would be around 45,608. So that if the price now crashed and hit this price point, it would immediately sell. Once it hits this the stop loss, it gives you a feed of that it sells and what price it sold at. I should add timestamps to this. I'll do it before I upload this video, so that you get timestamps to any one of these transactions. It will tell you when the stop loss was hit and for what price you sold your entire stock for. Be careful that this sells everything that you've got of this currency in your trading account. So if you got 500 BTC and it hits the stop loss, it will sell everything in your account because it automatically gets how much you have holding, and it will sell everything you got. So be careful. I think I'll release a second version of this code where you have to input how much you will have to sell. But you be careful, because if you put in like you want to sell 100 Bitcoin and you only own 50, none will be sold, because then the whole operation will just crash. The Kucoin API will put an error and it won't work. So be careful with using this, but that's how it works, how you can use it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments, and now I'll explain to you how the program works itself. If you're interested, it won't add anything to using this program if you just want to use it. It's just for other nerds, and so if you don't care, just go close the video, have fun, hopefully you work with this. It is never better to use this than to actually sit in front of your PC and watch the stock and make decisions on your own, but it is better than not watching your stock. That's what I mean. I think I finished this video now. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know, or just if you have anything to say, let me know. I'll upload it on GitHub. Maybe I'll do a Kucoin version too. I don't know if I will do it, because I don't use Kucoin that much, and so it wouldn't be really valuable for me. Kucoin is just for my long-term holdings, so I don't use a trailing stop loss anyway. But if there's demand or something, then I surely could use a Kucoin API and look if it's interesting, if the API provides the right tools for me to pull this off. And then let's see each other again in the next video. I hope I helped.